I've been very lucky in that I have a core set of investors. So I have 1,000 investors, and I've raised about 293 million from them. Of the 293 million, at this point, about $65 million was raised as seed money for Mission 10K. That sounds like a lot of money. But to build, and I'm going to build exactly 10,000 townhomes. I'm not going to stop at 5,000. I'm not going to stop at 1,000. A mission is a mission. You go until you finish. And hopefully at that point, it becomes Mission 100K. Maybe I'm not even involved in that. Maybe I don't need to be involved in that, right? If I can just spark it, then I've been successful. So for 10,000 of these, I need $800 million of equity because it's going to cost me $2.3 billion to build 10,000 of these. If it was 80 million, I'd almost be there because I have $65 million in the bank. So that $65 million is the start of that $800 million raise, right? And so it's maybe about 8%. So what I decided to do, and I told my investors that, and they're okay with it, is that instead of using that $65 million to build, let's say, a dozen communities, which I certainly can using that money, I am taking that $65 million and simultaneously working on 40 projects, which are 100 units each on average, 4,000 units, using that $65 million to get them to the point where the risk is squeezed out. A lot of very smart people prefer to buy existing buildings rather than working on new construction because there's significant risk, very significant risk associated with new construction. Right? And what happens is even developers that are pretty prolific look at it on a project by project basis. They don't look at it as a vision. But I've been able to convince my investors that I'll basically use that money as the foundation, get to the point where the risk is squeezed out. In our world, that's called shovel ready with a construction loan. And then, and only then, bring in third-party investors. And my mission is to find people like you and others that can influence, that know that there are institutional partners who when they hear this story and they understand the mathematics behind it, simultaneously that they realize that this is an extremely profitable thing to do, right? Because of the unusual nature of these cities. And they realize that this is true profit with a purpose. We are actually increasing stock and making people happy rather than forcing them into apartments that they don't want to live in. And so my goal is to use the $65 million to build that foundation and to also find ways to promote until I get to that critical mass where more and more people are joining the mission, and we get to 10,000, hopefully we blow through it.